Every villain is the hero of their own story, as the adage goes. But what are those who subscribe to the notion of necessary evil? For good is helpless, evil alone can act. So posits the renegade Green Lantern, Sinestro. Green Lantern number 7, the day 100,000 people vanished, released in 1961. Written by John Broome with pencils by Gil Kane and inks by Joe Gello. A seminal issue, as it marks the first appearance of Sinestro, Green Lantern's greatest foe, as DC themselves cites, and I'm inclined to agree. Sinestro, as revised in the early aughts, proves the ideal foil for a hotshot such as Hal Jordan. Cold and calculating, a cracked reflection of his adversary, Sinestro counters the Green Lantern's very makeup. He's far and away my favorite villain of the medium. Still, there remains much of his history I've yet to tackle, such as the aforesaid issue. I intend to remedy that. At 9:14 on this, a promising morning, Valdale was astir with affairs of the day-to-day, until a curtain of light drew aloft the city, supervened by a thunderclap. As of 9:15, Valdale, once 100,000 strong, was bereft of life. As it so happens, the Green Lantern of Earth, Hal Jordan, was appointed to the site of the mass disappearance, tasked to take part in a ceremony at the hour which it occurred. Just as Green Lantern puts two and two together, his consciousness is summoned before the guardians of the universe, his overseers, who divulge Sinestro's prior tenure as amongst their battery possessors, chosen to serve as protector of his homeworld of Korrigar. Exemplary were his efforts for a time, until dissatisfaction took root, allowing pride and vanity to foster. Sinestro would erect a citadel wherein he would hold court, yet the Korrigar yearned still. His temper stoked through tedium, those outspoken were reduced to hearsay uttered in hushed tones. Upon knowledge of his transgressions, the Guardians stripped Sinestro of both status and station, and ousted him to the planet Horde amidst the antimatter universe. He thereupon would ally himself with his denizens, the weaponers of Horde, with the promise of Green Lantern's demise, hence the titular conceit. Sinestro negotiates the release of Valdale's citizens for Green Lantern's surrender, to which the latter agrees. Sinestro then entraps Green Lantern in what he's coined an energosac, composed of yellow energy, which nullifies the Green Lantern's powers. A clever bit of foreshadowing, as Sinestro would prove synonymous with the color. However, yellow is not yet indicative of fear, but simply of an impurity in the ring itself, its kryptonite as it were, which would be further elaborated on in subsequent stories. Thus ensues a waiting game for the ring to lose charge, tracked by a neighboring atomic clock whose inner workings inspire Green Lantern's escape. By propelling the subparticles from his breath at the clock, he somehow speeds it up to the time estimated for his ring to die. When it comes time, Sinestro releases the Lantern presumed powerless and is made quick work of, as are his cronies. Though pinned, Sinestro takes to his proverbial soapbox in a final deluded diatribe.
You amuse me, Green Lantern, and I will tell you why. If I had caught you the way you have caught me, I would have destroyed you at once. But your stupid code prevents you from killing or harming anyone if you can help it. I know, because I wore a uniform like yours myself once, before I learned better. Good is helpless, evil alone can act.
In essence, good grants evil but further reprieve, as arguably evidenced by Green Lantern's parting gift, an impenetrable bubble much akin to the one Sinestro employed. The rhetoric of Sinestro's criticisms of the Corps epitomizes the ethos of the character, denoting an apt sense of superiority. Good is helpless, evil alone can act. If only a portion of the flashbacks were devoted to expounding upon this sentiment. This purported paralysis of morality as the thrust for a hero's heel turn, perhaps nuanced for the time, is a concept that's since proliferated in pop culture, a fate which befell even Hal Jordan for a spell. The difference here is that this prototypal Sinestro lacks the pathos oft ascribed to this manner of descent, such as the loss of a loved one. Rather, writer John Broome characterizes him as an evil for evil's sake, failing to truly capitalize on what modicum of motivation the age afforded. Even so, there are inklings at what would later prove his impetus, a compulsion for order as showcased through its overthrow of Korrigar's governing council, though to what end remains unclear as he appears to care little for the public interest. Sinestro refers to Jordan as an ex-colleague within the issue, a generous distinction as there's no further indication they ever served concurrently, contrary to their contemporary relationship, which began with Jordan as Sinestro's protege following the former's induction into the Green Lantern Corps. In fact, modern retellings depict Jordan as the whistleblower to Sinestro's tyranny, an act tantamount to betrayal, if not warranted, nevertheless fails to salve its sting. Their turbulent yet enduring friendship is what sets the pair apart from those of other nemeses, a facet sorely missed in this issue. Instead, Green Lantern is but a stepping stone towards Sinestro's true core, the Guardians, which ultimately mitigates their rivalry, albeit still in its infancy. Hal Jordan is very much a fledgling himself, having only been created 2 years prior to this issue's release, and thus too had yet to accrue much as to pathos. Even his abilities appear to be contingent on plot convenience rather than a concrete array. He's infallible, which leaves little room for interplay between him and Sinestro. Truth be told, I often find it difficult to appreciate comics which predate the medium's modern age. Sacrilege, I know, but my sensibilities simply don't align with those of previous eras. The day 100,000 people vanished is severely wanting in a satisfying denouement. The allotted page count fails to accommodate the narrative at work, the crux of which is resolved in as few as 3 panels, as with Sinestro's defeat shortly thereafter. With that said, Broom laid the foundation for one of comicdom's greatest villains, and though not my favorite depiction, Gil Kane deserves his laurels for Sinestro's design, whose hallmarks persist to this day. Sinestro's follow-up appearance in the Battle of the Power Rings would introduce the Yellow Power Ring to tip the scales. My opinions on that issue are a bit more favorable, so look forward to that retrospective in the near future. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, as each helps to turn the page. Until our next chapter.